to be an interruption. You don't want to be outside. Lightning can actually strike 10 miles outside of some of these thunderstorms. It's known as a bolt out of the blue. So just because you're saying the storm's not on top of me really doesn't mean anything. If you're under the warning, you need to go indoors, and you need to do that immediately. One thing I do want to mention, we don't have really any twisting showing up in the atmosphere. So that's a very good thing. You know, if we had the tornado concern today, that would make things even worse. But as we were talking about, hail and high winds, those will be your main two severe threats. And lightning has nothing to do with severe weather criteria. I mean, we don't have warnings issued for lightning, but it's a major hazard and one that needs to be watched. So here's the warning. I'll give you the information on that new one. 128 lightning strikes that are occurring right now. And the warning, which includes the western side of Louisville, through Floyd County, through southern Clark County. That one is for 1-inch hail and winds to 60 miles per hour. That one is actually moving a little faster now to the northeast at 45. So with that said, what I'm going to do is widen out and put a new tracker on this one. Since it's actually picking up a little bit of speed, moving it to the northeast at 45. That puts it New Albany 7, Jeffersonville 14, Charlestown 22, and Prospect 24 minutes from now.
And that kind of makes sense, Rick, because it's taken on the more of a bow structure, which normally means it's accelerating, it's pushing strong winds out. Why would it take on a bowing structure? Well, if the winds are stronger in the middle, it'll arc it. So we can now see from Churchill Downs, this looks like this is turn 4. And you can see, I think that's right. Correct me in my ear if I'm not. Can we take that full? It looks like a very ominous shelf cloud on that storm.
That's a mean-looking shelf cloud.
Yeah. So what that is the nose of gusty winds that's approaching Churchill Downs. Yep, there it is. So that is a very, very, very clear sign of strong winds. So a shelf cloud means that this is the nose of the gusty winds. What will happen for everybody at Churchill Downs, and even if you're just out at your house, you're going to see the shelf cloud move towards you and then move overhead. And what will happen is once that shelf cloud hits you, you'll know the wind's starting to pick up. And then once it goes over, that's when the 60-mile-an-hour winds could occur. Second, you notice on the right part of the screen, Rick, there's that little nub that's coming down there off of that. You mentioned that there was no real tornado threat, but we're going to see things like this.
Right, these little low-hanging areas, which will have you a little bit concerned. Trust me if you see that with the naked eye. But a lot of that is just scud. And those low-hanging clouds can sometimes look like they're concerning, but they're not. Right now, it's a wind threat, and it's going to be a hail threat. And it looks like in Louisville, I would say, let's say around 10 minutes from now, we'll see this impacting Churchill Downs, maybe even a little bit sooner. Again, Louisville, basically all of the county except for Linden, J-Town, back out through, let's say the Middletown area. You are not under a severe thunderstorm warning yet, but chances are you're going to get one as the storm continues to move into a very juicy environment. What do I mean by that? We have the warmth, we have the humidity, and that is definitely feeding into some of these storms. And this is really driven by daytime heating, Mark. It's now almost 4 o'clock, so this is what we refer to as peak heating. We have as much energy as the atmosphere could produce. We began the day with some sunshine, heating things up a little bit, making it unstable, and now we're seeing the result of that in the form of these severe storms.
And Rick, I just took a peek in on the analysts, and I'm going to move over to that computer here. So on the right, you're going to see the wind levels. What we noticed that specifically on trajectory to get towards Churchill Downs is a little lower. However, what we're seeing right along the Gene Snyder, I saw 49 knot, which is around a 56. So we're probably talking between 50 and 60-mile-an-hour winds as this line moves through Metro Louisville. Remember, we cannot guarantee that the strongest winds necessarily will hit Churchill Downs, but I really feel like if you're to ask me where the strongest winds go, I'm going to say the airport, southward through the southern part of the county, and I think we're going to get 50 to 60s in that area. So we really need to be careful. We're understanding now that Churchill Downs is ordering the evacuation now from open areas. Cameron, am I understanding correctly that they're asking people to go into sheltered locations or wherever their safe spot would be? And you can just let me know. But we've got now Churchill Downs is evacuating people into an area that is going to be safe. And look, this is not something that surprised us. We knew that this was going to happen. We knew the potential was there for severe today. We gave you the window yesterday, which is going to be exactly when these storms went through. People are, if they take advice, and whether you're at a party or at Churchill Downs or whatever it happens to be, or even if it's at work, you go in, you protect yourself, let the storm go by. And it is conceivable that this could then move by and we actually can get a dry Post.
I know, post for the Oaks is 551. 551. So this is not going to be rain constant all the way through the rest of the afternoon into the evening. We could get a rocky interruption, maybe an hour and a half. Hopefully that we can clear things out in time for the as the Phillies run for the Lilies. But once again, in the short term, this is our main concern. Our job is to keep you safe, and right now this is a dangerous storm that is moving into Louisville. So we're going to keep an eye on this one. Mark, we have 1, 2, 3 warnings right now.
And that's Metro. Remember, we still have severe thunderstorm warnings as well for the southern part of our area.
Don't forget
Greensburg and Campbellsville. You have a severe thunderstorm warning right now. Severe thunderstorm warning is for 1.5-inch hail. This is near Gresham, heading towards Cane Valley. 70-mile-an-hour winds. That is a seriously dangerous thunderstorm. Reminder in Metro Louisville, let's go through the 2 warnings here. The northern one, severe thunderstorm warning for Clark, Floyd, Jefferson, Oldham until 4:30. This is for 1-inch size hail, 60-mile-an-hour winds. The further south warning is a severe thunderstorm warning for Bullitt, Floyd, Harrison, and for Jefferson County until 4:15. Just one more time so you can get a view of that. Severe thunderstorm warning until for Clark, Floyd, Jefferson until 1. And you can see on our camera on the bottom right here, the severe thunderstorms are getting very, very close to Churchill Downs.
And I actually have a report for you, Mark.
Okay.
So this came in from Harrison County. High wind knocked over a horse trailer and camper. This was near Cordon area. So that's all the information they have right now. No word if anyone's hurt or anything, but there is some damage now in the Cordon area.
Okay, and before we start the top of the newscast here, just want to take a look at Cordon. Shelf cloud now on top of Cordon, so that means that, New Albany. So that means the strong winds are now hitting New Albany, and this is the view. There's the shelf cloud coming in on the left side of the screen. We're going to continue our live coverage here. It's 4:01. We start WDRB News at 4 right now.
And good afternoon. Thanks for being here for a special edition of WDRB News at 4. Typically for these 2 days, the eyes of the racing world are locked on Churchill Downs. It is horse racing's mecca, but the weather right now is the big story that is kind of usurping the Kentucky Oaks and Derby. Because here's the deal. When you have 100,000 of your closest friends out here, nobody particularly wants to be at an outside place when severe weather is rolling through.
Right. This is not the Oaks Day that a lot of people were hoping for. We did get several hours of good racing in up until 4 p.m. this afternoon, but as we were just looking behind us, the sea of pink is dispersing because Churchill Downs has told everyone to seek shelter immediately as this severe thunderstorm moves through the area.
And I will tell you, I was out here in 2012 when a similar situation played out. We had severe weather roll through the track. Well, the communication was a lot different then. People were struggling to get the memo out to the infield that there was a threat heading this way, and they were trying to evacuate the infield. Well, now it's been put on Twitter. There's better cell phone service here some 13 years later, and I can just tell you the visual difference that we are seeing because people have started going to the starting gate courtyard, and the people on the infield, I'm told at least, have moved into the tunnel that brings people from the infield onto the inside of the track. So much different scenario now.
And even if you don't have it on your oak, the communication of this nasty weather here at Churchill Downs right now, you can feel it. It is windy, it is starting to rain, and we want to go right to our chief meteorologist, Marc Weinberg, to tell us what we can expect here under the Twin Spires. Mark?
And Fallon and Gil, hopefully you guys can hear me. I do have a question for you guys. What is Churchill Downs announcing right now to the crowd out there? Just so you know, right now where you are, you're probably going to see 40-mile-an-hour winds, maybe a little bit stronger in the next 60 seconds to 120 seconds. But what is Churchill Downs announcing?
It is hard to hear the PA announcements clearly, but I will tell you that on their social media pages, they did send out a warning to seek shelter. And we also do know that on the infield area, they have told people that they can come into the tunnel.
And the wind right now, it is coming through. We can feel it.
Hold on, Fallon. Okay, guys,
well,
we're
you
gonna...
called it to
yeah.
You called it to the second, Marc.
We'll let you guys make sure you secure yourselves right now. Make sure that you're safe. We're going to continue to cover this, but you can see the strong winds have now hit Churchill Downs. So, Rick, we've got this on our radar. The strongest winds traditionally are going to precede where the heaviest rain is. So this, looking at Churchill Downs, you can see behind us, we've got it zoomed in on Churchill. So the strong winds are hitting Churchill as we speak, and now I'm going to take you, that's from the ground level. You saw what Fallon and Gil just showed us. Now we're going to take you over Louisville so that you can see from our camera, there is the shelf cloud that's coming through. Understand what you're going to see visually as this approaches. You're going to see this little lowering in front of here, and then you're going to get the strongest winds moving through. Storm View HD shows we've got everything basically west of 65, including, I would say almost to Bardstown Road now, blanketed in a warning in Jefferson County. And then this goes on the northern side of Jefferson into Prospect and then all the way into Oldham County. This is a severe thunderstorm that's approaching the Churchill Downs area. Rick, as we've looked at this, I think we both are in agreement that the strongest winds are probably coming along Gene Snyder and just slightly outside of the Waterson, but you just saw from Fallon, that looked like a good 40 to 50 that hit.
Absolutely. I mean, the papers were flying. She had the fascinator, as you know, holding it down for dear life. And that's going to be the sequence. You get the gusty winds, then you'll see the rain. So the rain is actually going to be after some of those winds. And then once you're inside the storm, you're going to feel those gusty winds. It will be blinding rainfall along with a lot of that lightning. I mean, there is lightning all over the place.
Yeah, and that's a major concern with a crowd that size.
It's a huge concern. I know a lot of people really don't think of lightning as a huge hazard. You cannot underestimate the power of lightning. So that is a major hazard now. And Mark, we have those two warnings stacked up, which does include Churchill Downs and downtown Louisville. So it's really nice to see how proactive they're being out of the Downs.
Weather Service is not playing around on this one, and quite frankly, they should not. This is too dangerous with that many people outside to play around and say, well, maybe it does, maybe it doesn't. The impact is elevated significantly with this many people. Rick, let's do a track. Since this is kind of now congealed into a little bit more of a line area, let's just track the whole thing. There's going to be pockets of the strongest winds that are going along I-265 in southern Indiana, and then we've got a pocket of also the strongest winds that are coming in between the Gene Snyder and Waterson Expressway, approaching 65 now. It is obviously in Louisville. 9 minutes from now, if you have a derby party in St. Matthews, you know what? If you're just at work, it's worth covering with everything going on in a day like this. 9 minutes from now, 13 minutes from now, potentially 60-mile-an-hour winds in the Linden area, and then it will continue to move eastward. We'll go southward. This, I want to focus in on the area where we've got, Rick, and you can verify because you're looking at analysts. I assume we've got a core of strong winds. It's approaching Newburgh. Let's see as we view here some higher pixels near Smyrna. Let's go a little bit further west. Some right now near Grade Lane. And looking at that, it looks like we're probably in the 40 to 50. For thoroughness, Rick, let's go through Fern Creek, and let's also go towards Fisherville. Again, there may be a peak of a 50 near around J-Town. Most of this looks like it's in the 40 to 50-mile-an-hour range, but this is an unusual situation considering the fact, again, that we have so many people out of Churchill Downs. So for reference point here, let me show you where Churchill Downs is located. 65 is here. This is 264. Churchill Downs is right here. So what you see here is the core of the strongest north and the core of the strongest south. My hope is that Churchill Downs doesn't get the full 60s, and maybe we get 40s, and I will say it's progressive and it will move. But Rick, let's not sole focus, because we have a number of warnings now that are in effect, not just at Churchill Downs only, but we've got severe thunderstorm warnings south of Louisville as well now, including around the E-Town area. So this warning, there's the warning near around the Shepherdsville area. So that one clips the northern part of Hardin. Looks like it's in the warning. Maybe it's just on the edge right here. And then we've got the warnings off to the south. This warning that is for the southern part of our area is probably one of our more concerning warnings. At one point it had golf ball size hail, but the core of this is going to go in the northern part of Adair County, just north of Columbia, south of Greensburg, south of Campbellsville. So rural northern Adair County is where we're watching the closest for hail up to the size of 1 inch and 60-mile-per-hour winds. There's not a lot of days other than Thunder, Oaks, and Derby that are kind of the nightmare for us to have severe weather in Louisville. And this is one of the days where you just don't want to see it. I think from what we're seeing on radar here, It does appear that the core of the hail may just be a pinch south of Churchill and maybe about 2 miles north of Churchill. That could be a positive there. And Rick, the winds that we saw some about 55s. It does look like maybe we're seeing just a hair less on that maybe closer to 50.
But you're talking about a matter of maybe 2 or 3 miles.
I know.
That's it. I mean, if this was 2 or 3 miles further north, the stronger part of the storm would be right on top of Churchill Downs. So this was, I mean, this is a close one. You're still going to get the heavy rain. I don't want to.
And the winds.
And the winds. I'm not trying to, you know, underestimate this or let your guard down. But, you know, let's say that move just, you know, a couple miles north. This could be a far worse situation. But still, inside some of these storms, we're seeing signs that they're collapsing a little bit.
Yeah.
And in that, you get some little downbursts and that 50, maybe 60 mile per hour winds. There's really not a lot of strong upper level, mid-level flow.
Exactly.
And so these storms, they'll go up, we call them pulse, and then as they collapse, they come down, and that's when you get some more of those strong winds outside of that shelf cloud, Mark, that we keep seeing coming across Louisville, which is an ominous sight. When you look outside and you see that thing coming at you, you're concerned. And it does look like, on a positive note as well, the back edge of the rain seems to be around the Leavenworth, New Amsterdam area, so it does appear as though we'll get this line through, and then things should be able to resume at Churchill Downs, but they're going to wait a while until this storm passes.
Yeah, the heavy rain is about to hit Churchill. It's probably about 2 minutes away right now. Notice what's in the PRP area. That does have a northward jog to it, so that's going to go through Churchill. There's a lot of lightning in and around Churchill Downs, so regardless of whether you got 60-mile-an-hour winds or not, we do need to be aware of the fact that you're going to get a lot of lightning and you're going to get very, very heavy rain here momentarily that comes through the Churchill Downs area. I'm actually just going to roll this back a couple so you can see there is a northward jog on that is coming through PRP. And so this is going to momentarily overtake Churchill Downs with extremely heavy rain. So you can see it's coming out of Shively, going through Wilder Park into the Audubon Park area. So just north of Wilder Park there is where that really heavy rain is going to be moving through Churchill Downs. Do we have a shot out at Churchill Downs so that we can show that? This is what it looks like live from us, our crew out at Churchill Downs. So we are under what appears to be a shelter right now. This is going to move past Churchill Downs. We are going to get the Oaks race in, and we're going to actually see this wind down. But Churchill is about to see the heaviest rain that they're going to see momentarily. Now, the shelf cloud has already gone by. We saw Fallon and Gill when the strongest winds were moving through, and now we're in a scenario where we're waiting for these thunderstorms to move by. We still have that potential for damaging winds, some small hail potential, although I would argue that's a little bit greater east of Churchill Downs. And Rick, I'm going to come over to Storm View 3D because I can see you peering around Jefferson County. You're looking for some of those really strong winds. Interestingly enough, there's a higher gate that's just outside of the Gene Snyder that is east of Okolona, but that appears to be kind of in a garbage spot. It doesn't seem to make sense.
I think that's actually a bad gate. I mean, if it was, it would be 50 to 60 mile per hour winds.
What about that near Audubon Park? There's some higher pops there and off to the east there where it looks like a downdraft might even be occurring.
Yeah, I would say these are in the neighborhood of 40 mile per hour.
Okay. That makes sense. And
makes
you know,
sense,
40
which is strong.
Yeah, and 40 if you're sitting in your house is whatever. 40 if you're out of Churchill Downs in your nicest clothes with your favorite friends and
a big hat.
Yeah, this is dangerous. Yeah. And with that, on top of that, obviously there's a lot of lightning.
And there's your new warning, which just came out, and now this includes all of Jefferson County. It does not matter where you live in Jefferson County, with the exception of the far, far western fringe. You are now under a severe thunderstorm warning, so it's time to go inside no matter where you are here in Louisville.
And I'm getting a little more concerned. It does appear that there's a hail pop right now occurring near Fisherville area. Let me go over to Storm View HD on that one. So that hail core right now is right on top of the Fisherville area. Rick, what do you have on that warning? It looks to me like we're probably talking 1-inch size hail right over Fisherville. This is going to go towards Ellis Park, and then this is going to be crossing 64 right basically near the outlets of the Bluegrass in Simpsonville. What are we talking about on hail size and wind on this warning?
Hail is just under 1 inch. Winds up to 60, which means the same criteria for much of these storms. It's a hail and high wind threat, and the hail kind of, it's localized. You get these little pockets of it here and there, and when you see purple on radar, like you're seeing around Fisherville, that is an indication that we're getting some of the hail. The higher reflectivity and everything else is just some very heavy rainfall. Marc's putting things into motion. Marc, in Churchill Downs, we are just going to get crushed.
But here's the thing,
by
Rick.
that
I mean,
rain.
you can speak to this as well, but there is very clearly a gap.
There's a gap.
And this is going to take the fuel from that second line. This is factual.
So here's what Mark's referring to. So we have this initial line going through, which is severe. There's an area right here from English through around Patoka where we have a void of showers and thunderstorms, and then more rain and storms off to the west around Morganfield. These are going to struggle. How come? Because the storms out in front, they are greedy. They want to take up and consume all the energy, and that's what they're going to do. They're going to rain down, cool the atmosphere, which means as these storms arrive, they do not have as much fuel, as much storm energy to work with. This will cool and stabilize the atmosphere, which means the secondary line will not be as problematic. The problem right now are the severe storms. Thankfully, we're looking at just this tiny window of an hour or so where things will not happen at Churchill Downs. And Mark, if you would take me in really close to Churchill.
Yeah, you bet.
Look at that. I mean, they're talking about torrential rainfall. I'm wondering what the rainfall rates actually look like with some of that if you turn that on.
Let me see if I can pull up rainfall rates
Okay,
here for you, Rick, real quickly. Rainfall rate, the product is not arriving right now. There it just came in. I'm gonna note a couple of these for you, Rick, just so you can get a sense of what we're talking about and some of the highest rain rates here.
It's about 2.5 inches per hour.
Yeah.
It's not going to rain an entire hour. There's one near 3 just between the Waterson and the Snyder. It's not going to rain the entire time, but that is blinding rainfall. You do not want to be driving out in some of that rainfall. This is the kind of scenario where some people just flick on the hazards, pull to the side because you can't even see the car in front of you. And that very heavy rainfall is spilling in the Churchill Downs as we speak.
So the severe thunderstorm warning that did cover Churchill Downs, it looks like that one expired right at 4:15. The warning right now, it's close to not including Churchill. Boy, I'm going to have to turn off radar just to actually see because it's so tight on here to see whether Churchill's actually included in that second warning. So Churchill Downs right here, it's outside of the warning.
Okay.
So here's Churchill Downs right here, and you can see the warning box is right here. So this new warning that was just issued is just outside of Churchill Downs. So what I'm telling you is that the warning as it stands right now, the new warning is for the eastern part of Jefferson County. But let's not just underestimate here. It's Oaks Day. There's a lot of Oaks parties that are going on, and on top of this, it's 4:15. A lot of people just getting out of work here. For those that are out at Churchill Downs, what should you expect? You've got about another, I'm going to say 20 to 25 minutes worth of rain. Very heavy in the next 6 to 12. Thunder and lightning could still occur as you get onto the back edge, but that would generally be what we call anvil crawler. It means it would crawl across the sky. And then what's near West Point is around 25 minutes away from Churchill. At that point, we would then pop out into dry. Now, if you're in the eastern part of Jefferson County, we're not there. Buchel, J-Town, through Long Run, approaching the Simpsonville area. And I'm just going to take a look at our Simpsonville. 60-mile-an-hour winds are the threat. You can see that lowering there on our Simpsonville camera as well. This is not tornado. This is shelf cloud stuff. Shelf cloud means that the winds are going to be picking up. But we do have that area where we've got some pops of hail that are approaching J-Town and some pops of hail that are approaching Simpsonville. You know, Rick, I will say this. I don't think we're talking worst case scenario.
No.
I think that we're talking about a normal severe thunderstorm warning for Metro Louisville. We're not talking about an ultra high end severe thunderstorm warning, but we have a lot people outside today.
We do. And the airport just gusted to 43 knots.
So
about 48 mile per hour wind gust.
That makes sense. That makes sense.
Absolutely does. It's kind of what we saw showing up on velocity was, you know, in the neighborhood, 40 to 50, and that's what did unfold. I mean, just seeing Fallon and Gale out there.
I know that second.
Yeah, and watching those winds really start to churn up. It was, you know, it's concerning when you see friends of yours outside and you know how many people are out of town coming in, you know, and you hate to see severe weather on any day. But like you mentioned, to have severe weather now on Oaks, and the fact that Derby Day will include some rainfall, and we didn't have thunder. I mean, it's been a real tough year for some of these KDF events. Even the balloon events, it was tough to get them in with the rainfall, some of the gustier winds. So this has really been a tough year.
I'm noticing a lot more gray in that hair after this week, my friend.
It's coming in fast.
And I do want to ask a question. I don't know if we can get Gil or Fallon on mic and just let us know what's going on out there. obviously live out there. If they can, they will. Right now, they are not able to do that. Rick, I'm going to come back over to Stormview 3D because you've been taking a look at that. Tell us what you're seeing in terms of winds, and comparable to what we saw. We do have ground truth now because we know what just occurred at Churchill Downs was in the neighborhood of approximately 50-mile-an-hour winds. Is it similar in that regard?
It's similar, and there's also there's been a hail pop, and the only hail pop I'm now seeing is moving right along the Jefferson and Shelby County line. This is going to stay just south of Simpsonville and also just south of the I-64 corridor, but I'll take you into that little area where I am seeing a little pop of hail. So right there, right along, I can give you a road actually. This is Connor Station Road. You're probably going to see some inch hail, maybe higher. Old Stone Drive, also seeing that hail. Where is this going to go? Todd Drive in Shelby County, and also a road, let's see if I can just find one more for you. Again, Connor Station Road that extends up through that hail course. So that's what you want to watch out for with the heavy rain still coming down in much of Louisville. And
to Rick's point, we just got a report of pea-sized hail out of the J-Town area. So we know that this is generating some hail. I will tell you this much. I don't think we're looking at an elite high-level event. I don't think we're in a scenario of what we saw last month when we got the EF3 in Louisville, or the Sunday before that when we had another tornado in Louisville. And I don't think that this is going to last ultra long. I think that we will probably get about a 90 to maybe 2-hour gap that hopefully can include the Oaks race. Churchill Downs is probably right now in their plan on when they're going to resume racing, when they're going to be allowing people to get back to their seats. We will find out that information. Churchill Downs is no longer under a severe thunderstorm warning right now, but look, I'm going to tell you, I do risk management with University of Louisville, with many of our schools around the area. I help a lot of people. I helped with the balloon events this year, and I will tell you the way that we have to function. And that is, it comes down to one thing, and that is lives are more important. And I will tell you that Churchill Downs is in a scenario where they are now in a when is it safe. Right. They're not in a scenario, well, let's get everybody out there as soon as humanly possible to get them so they can watch horses run. We need to make sure that when we get the crowd back in here, that we feel confident that we can do so safely. And that is an absolute must in large crowd risk management like this. I don't say that because it may be popular with everybody, but I tell you what they have to do. There is no choice on this. They have to. And so we've got 2 severe thunderstorm warnings still. Clark, Floyd, Jefferson, Oldham till 4:30. This is for 60-mile-an-hour and 1-inch size hail. And you know, the hail size does look like it's verifying on this one in the 3/4 inch. A little bit smaller at 60-mile-an-hour winds as well. We've seen a history now of this one producing 50. I think that the 3/4 inch size hail verified out of J-Town. I think what you mentioned near Simpsonville probably could be closer to 1 inch. Speaking of that, let's go to Simpsonville and see. We've got our camera in Simpsonville. Oh, I hate seeing the golf cart.
Oh, no.
I'm going to move that camera down just a little bit because I want to see what, boy, that guy is running. Look at the wind. Look at the wind coming behind it. You can see he's trying to race that.
He's trying to outrun it.
Oh, so this is not what you should be doing, but nonetheless, this is a live view right now on the severe thunderstorm that is approaching Simpsonville. This is Cardinal Club. Look at that flag there, blowing around like crazy. Look at Rick. It's eerie to see how we're slowly but surely losing visibility.
Yeah, you can't see beyond that tree.
I'm going to move that down a little too because that'll give us the ability to see are we looking at any hail bouncing off the ground. So you can see that flag out in Simpsonville. I'm going to guess that's 40 to 50. But you can see, I mean, this is the severe thunderstorm, and the hail core is very, very close to Simpsonville. So we'll know ground truth here momentarily on whether this is generating hail. I wish you guys could see us as well, because we're probably doing the same thing that you are, and that is leaning in to try to see. This is live view of a severe thunderstorm coming through the Simpsonville area. Rick, the world's changed, you know, with cameras out there and a camera network that we have built across our area. This is not a time where you're like, hey, is there severe occurring? This is a time where you can actually see it. The interesting thing is you can see as you go a little bit further back, the visibility just continues to get lower and lower, and I'm just wondering if that flag stick is going to pull.
And just, I mean, the wind, just the fact that it's pushing that rain sideswept. across the greens there.
And where is that hail core with respect to Simpsonville and Cardinal Club? I mean,
it's about to be right on top of it.
So
I would say in the next 60 to maybe 45 seconds or so.
So we'll look for on the concrete there to see if we see anything bouncing. That would obviously tell us very quickly we've gone over from rain towards hail. It is moving fast. It is possible that the hail core could be maybe a mile just west of here, but we will see. The hail core has come down just a pinch. Can we two-box? I don't know if you guys have access to the Simpsonville camera. I'm going to take us back over to StormView HD, and I just want to show you that where we have that. And if we do have the ability, we can pop that Simpsonville camera up on there as well. But you can see this is looking at Simpsonville. 3/4 inch hail, 60-mile-an-hour winds are going to be the main threat, but it did have a large hail core about 2 minutes ago. It does appear on the current scan that's come down a little bit. And Rick, you know, let's walk through. You're at Churchill Downs right now. Let's walk through the next 10 minutes, the next 20 minutes, the next 40 minutes, because we can definitely see the edges approaching.
Absolutely. The severe thunderstorm warning is canceled for Churchill Downs. Continues for Louisville. On the backside, there is some steady rainfall. We call a lot of that some stratiform rain.
Right.
That's going to last probably about 20, 25 minutes.
Okay.
And there's going to be lightning inside of that. So you'll have that constant steady rain and you'll hear those cracks of thunder going by. But as we mentioned before, Leavenworth, New Amsterdam, Brandenburg, what you are seeing is the back edge of some of that rainfall, which gives you that window where the racing will be able to resume. But it's just a matter of time when Churchill determines, okay, is it safe now to let all these people go back outside? And that's kind of what you were mentioning.
And we deal with, I deal specifically with a lot of NCAA events. I've worked with the NCAA for a long time and the University of Louisville. And so what we have is what we refer to as lightning protocol. So if this was NCAA, we would be putting a ring around Churchill Downs of 8 miles. And once we got lightning outside of 8 miles away from Churchill Downs, what we would do is we would start the clock. When we start that clock, if no lightning occurs within 30 minutes within that 8-mile radius, we would then resume to action and allow the crowd to return. So I want to know, we do have our Dalton Godby out at Churchill Downs, and Dalton is live on scene getting real-time information and can tell us a couple things, Dalton. Okay, so Dalton's not available yet, but Dalton, can you tell us what we want to know is what's Churchill Downs advising on the crowd, and what did you see, Dalton, as the storms moved through?
Well, if you walk with me just for a second, you can see what Churchill Downs is saying to people. There is, on all of the screens here at the track, it says severe weather approaching, telling fans and spectators here to seek shelter. Okay. If you're seeing the video right now, though, you can tell that the rain is a lot lighter than what it has been here in the last, I don't know, 15, 20 minutes or so. But obviously people without cover are trying to hide in these places where they can stay a little bit dry. We've got some people right here. Folks, where were you guys sitting whenever this all came through?
We were sitting in section, what section?
185.
185.
Were you covered?
No.
So you saw the signs there that Churchill Downs was putting out. You said, well, we better get out of here.
Yes.
Well, you look pretty dry, at least.
Oh, yeah, I am.
Yeah. How about you? Were you out here when it all came down?
I was out here, but I was in section 189, and then when they said, beat feet, get cover, that's when we came here.
Whenever the rain really started coming down, I mean, it was torrentially pouring out here. Tell me what you saw.
It was going pretty good. The rain was going sideways. It was windy. It was hard rain, though, I'll tell you that.
Yeah, definitely a lot of hard rain. You could hear it, you could see it, you could kind of feel it, to be honest. And they've got us kind of over here in the media room. We're covered right now, staying dry. Rain, as you guys know, still falling here for a little while, and fans are trying to hold out because at some point they believe the racing will resume. I assume it will whenever this all passes, guys.
Okay, and I appreciate that, Dalton. One other question I have for you. So as the storms were approaching, did everybody get adequate warning where they were able to get to shelter and get away from the scene as the thunderstorm approached?
Yeah. If you turn around here, I was actually outside, and I was walking down from this direction towards the media area where we can kind of work, our media workspace. And just beyond the flags there you see at Churchill Downs, you could see it looked very ominous. The wind started really picking up, as I know you guys have been talking about the last few minutes, and it was like, okay, something's about to happen. Right about that time when it felt like something was imminent, Churchill Downs put these alerts, these warnings up, and you started seeing people kind of scramble around trying to find some shelter or at least get under something to stay dry. And then it was about 10, 15 minutes later whenever that torrential rain started coming down.
Excellent, thank you. And if you could just let us know when you guys get from Churchill Downs the okay for people to start taking their seats again. Our Dalton Godby live at Churchill Downs for the 151st running of the Kentucky Oaks, which has been marred now, obviously, by thunderstorms moving through. What I will say is this was not the ultimate worst case scenario. Our fear when it comes to Churchill Downs or the Thunder over Louisville event is large hail or tornado. Right. And because you can only seek enough shelter from large hail, there's becomes a problem where even if you have stragglers that could be standing outside a little bit, it's ultra dangerous. And then a tornado, shelter may not be necessarily adequate for people that could then get debris flung at them. This was a scenario, I think it's fair to say we probably saw 40 to 50 out at Churchill.
Absolutely.
Which is serious. But you know, there's serious and then there's this, oh no.
Right. We didn't have that.
We didn't get into the ultra bad. Let us show you what's going on specifically. Rick DeLuca has zoomed in on Churchill Downs. Rick, does this have reflectivity on it right now?
It does not,
okay.
But I just want to give you a reference point.
There's
yeah.
Central Ave, you can see on the north side, and there's Longfield Ave, so you can see that's backside. So Rick then putting on reflectivity right now. What you see here is that there's lighter rain. This goes really well with what we saw. So let's also from this do the same exercise. Churchill Downs, how far till the end of the rain? The end of the rain is 9 miles away from Churchill Downs. Let's say it's moved a minute since the radar scan, a mile. So let's say 8 minutes. We know this is moving at around 35 to 40. So this means at around, I'm going to say around 439 to 443, the rain should come to an end at Churchill Downs. At that point, Churchill Downs is going to, depending on their protocol, if it's an 8-mile radius, they may be determining already now the clock has started. We're making sure we don't get a lightning strike in that 8-mile radius, and then we'll give everybody the all clear. To be transparent here, there's going to be likely about a 90 to 120 minute window where we can resume racing and not have problems. There is an area of rain that could try to approach, but Rick, you and I have covered this so many times over the years. When you get something coming through in peak heating and cool the atmosphere, there is no way to turn the switch back on.
Exactly. It robs all the energy out of the atmosphere. And for us, that's a very, very good thing. What you don't want to have is one round of severe storms followed by another one. So this is really, I hate to say it's good because it's not, but we avoided the large hail outside.
Right.
We got the wind, we got the rainfall, but we didn't get the hail. There were no tornado threats today. And now we're looking at the back edge of the rain, which is quickly approaching Churchill Downs. So this is an interruption. It's not going to kill the rest of the day. You're not going to talk about every single race being canceled. This is a situation where we can resume, you can get back out there, and you can have a good time.
And we're going to go back out to our crew. Fallon and Gil are at the Churchill Downs Museum. Before I go, just give me one more moment. I just want to mention severe thunderstorm warning until 4:45. This is for Eastern Jefferson, Oldham, and Shelby and Spencer counties. Okay, guys, I am a happy man because I see Fallon's Fascinator lasted somehow through that. And I see both of you have ponchos. And I see we are glad. Gil always asks us after the weather ends, hey, I wasn't listening to the weather. What's the weather going to be like tomorrow? Gil, you obviously listened this time. You've got a poncho.
Look at, it's got a hood too. You're fancy.
Listen, you're not stressed out because you're already back to throwing shade. He goes from super sciencey forecast to throwing shade just instantly. So I know that all is well out here. But yes, I didn't have to listen because I was in the thick of it. I was out here live amongst the people, Marc Weinberg, and glad to be back with you here for this special edition of the News at 4 on the eve of the Kentucky Derby. And Fallon, people were really running for cover as fast as they could with their fascinators, holding on to everything that they had. And I wish that you could see just over our shoulder on the right at the starting gate courtyard, people are packed in there still because we're in a rain delay, and they look like sardines. It's shoulder to shoulder, sold out in that room.
There's not a lot of space to move around over there, and some people are moving around here at Churchill Downs, but they also paid attention to Marc and all the other meteorologists saying bring the poncho because we did see all of the fun pinks and blues, and now we're just seeing a ton of ponchos as the rain comes down. Still here at Churchill Downs, we are still under a rain delay until this weather passes through.
But rain, sleet, or snow, the Kentucky Derby always goes on with its pomp and circumstance, right? So we got fashion to talk about. We got some shakeups in the Derby field that came today to talk about. We still have the parties with a purpose that are going on tonight. Much more to come on this special edition of WDRB News at 4. We're going to press pause, take a break. We'll be right back with it.
Name something with a diamond in it.
Diamondback rattlesnake.
It's in the name. Name a low-calorie food you might make your edible underwear out of.
Salmon.
Watch it weeknights. Share it the next day.
Wild caught Norwegian teriyaki.
Share in the fun. Weeknights on Family Feud.
Watch 7 o'clock Family Feud. Only on WDRB.
This summer, forget all those DIY schemes to try to keep your family cool. Because at Jarbo's, we've got your back.
Ma'am? Ma'am? Your AC is all fixed up. Everything's up and running.
Thank you so much. We look forward to keeping your home comfortable for life.